As regards the safety on site, we have so many measures put in place already to ensure the safety of the personnel at the field. One of the safety measures that has been put in place is proper demarcation of the place to restrict access to the affected area. And also, we have uh, the best search equipment on site to discover uh, the unexploded ordnance, irrespective of their distance and as well as their location. Also, before the commencement of the exercise, there was initial training for the casual workers on the means by which they can identify, uh, they can take precaution while taking off most of this vegetation. And also, we have some adequate uh, equipment such as bomb suits, wearing of ballistic helmets and fragmented jackets by the workers so as to prevent them from any form of accident in case anyone occur. And also, we have the firefighting equipment stationed at the site, as well as restriction of individuals to the site, except those that are working. And in addition to that, we have medical services on ground by Nigerian Army, as well as LASEMA. So also the careful identification of the recovered USO is being taken as paramount, because the unexploded ordnance must have been initiated either directly or indirectly, and thereby putting them in different state of defects. So you must identify the categories and the condition of the USO before they are recovered from the site. And just like the chief of army staff said during his brief, he said the people within the environment should not panic in case we have unstable recovered unexploded ordnance, and there is need for them to be detonated here on site if they are not safe for movement to the final destination, which is the range where we can demolish them. Also, we have another measures in place to ensure that the recovered unexploded ordnance did not pass the normal and required limits within the environment in case there is an accident, so that we can easily put them under control. And also, as regards the disposal of those that will be safe for movement to the demolition site, before that, we have conducted different inspection and recce of the site where the demolition exercise will take place. Also, before the commencement of the exercise, just as the exercise coordinator mentioned earlier, there is going to be early warning to farmers and people within the environment to give early warning that social activities will be taking place in that place so as to prevent any form of accident. And as well, there's going to be a red flag as well as demarcation, boundaries that will naturally restrict on unauthorized access to the exercise area. Then also, as part of the safety measure that we have put in place, we have the road safety with us, the bomb disposal team from the Nigerian police and mobile police that will be helping us to control traffic as well as road clearance when the vehicle is moving to the site. The vehicle is going to move at a very low speed to prevent any form of friction, vibration, or as the case may, or heat along the road, or any form of accident, so that we can reach there safely, and the exercise will be conducted at that range. And other measures like considering the environment, the facility within the environment, and the nature of people within the environment, which will control our explosive limit of what can be destroyed at a time because of the noise, tense environment, explosion, vibration, and the rest of them that will be emanate from this destruction. All those things have been put in place. And also, there is adequate medical services to cover the event. And as well, the troops' morale is very high. They have been well mobilized. We have trained personnel of ammunition technical officers and ammunition technicians that are good to go to work with Nigerian Army engineers in carrying out this exercise successfully. And by God's grace, we are praying for each free exercise during this period. Thank you very much.
If you may recall, the safety officer mentioned something which is very technical, the explosives limit. The explosives limit is a technical term that guides us using different parameters. The maximum limit of explosive that we can keep within our holding area, that it shouldn't exceed. So once we get to that particular explosive limit, then we have to move to the range. If maybe we'll move to the range, we'll get to the explosive limit today, and we'll move to the range today, and the exercise is continuing, and we recover, and we get to that explosive limit before the end of that day, we have to move those ones again. So not a kilogram above the explosive limit. So if we get to that explosive limit within the 5 consecutive days, we have to keep on moving to the range. So that is a line that we're not crossing at all. So at 93, we're not yet up to the explosive. We'll measure it in kilograms. So once we get to that particular explosive limit, then we'll move to the range. And as the explosive ordnance officer also mentioned, the safety officer, he also made mention of the fact that there are some of the unexploded ordnances that are unstable. So based on our expert assessment, if we have anyone like that, which we are not looking forward to. So as saying goes, in as much as we are praying for the best, we should also prepare for the worst. So if perchance or peradventure we come across such sensitive, unstable, unexploded ordnance, in order not to put the lives of Nigerians at risk by transporting it to the range, we've put adequate safety measures in place to be able to detonate them in situ without disturbing the peace of Ikeja Cantonment and environ. But it's going to be in very, very extremely rare case, as the case may be. We've not encountered any one of that yet, and we're still clearing. And as it is now, we've not reached that particular explosive limit for us to move to the range. Thank you. Now to the second question. Citing recovered unexploded ordnances at cultivated farmlands. Yes, there are measures that are put in place. There are warning. There are also means put in place by the Nigerian Army authorities to dissuade inhabitants of the cantonment from farming at contaminated areas. Now, those parts of it, I told you earlier on, the part of it that you saw us recovering some UXOs within farmlands are actually, you have different levels of contamination, which is being determined by, number one, the proximity to the epicenter. Number two, the density of past UXO recovery within that particular general area. So we mark them with different colors. You have the blue, you have the green, you have the amber, and you have the red. So the epicenter is in red, and it keeps on. So those particular areas that I saw it are actually the amber areas that are not within the epicenter. So in as much as they are non-sensitive, we still have restrictions on them. If you move around the cantonment, you'll see where the cantonment commander has placed, before even the commencement of this exercise, there are signs and markings that the cantonment commander and the Nigerian Army authorities have put in those general areas, even the non-sensitive areas, even areas that we're suspecting that UXOs are, warning them to keep off, putting soldiers in those areas, putting tents there to prevent and dissuade them from coming there. So these measures have been put in place before now. If those are not in place, you'd have seen lots of human activities within those general areas. But if you move there, you'll see that they are thickly vegetated, which means that it symbolizes the absence of human activities or habitation within those general areas. Thank you. So what do you call hazard? Hazard is when, disaster is when hazard and vulnerability coincides in time and space. So what we are carrying is actually hazardous, right? Vulnerability is when people are available, such that if it goes off, then you have what? A disaster. So in order to reduce that vulnerability, we have said that we are going to move these particular sensitive items in hours of low human and vehicle traffic. So we have times during the day that people are moving, in terms of both Lagos and Ogun, we're plying those routes. So those periods we know it, working with the Nigerian Road Safety Corps and the mobile police. And also, the periods in which people will not be moving is actually wee hours of the night. So we're considering moving these particular items before first light, such that by first light is maybe 0600 hours. By 0600, when everybody is waking up and moving up, we're already at the range. To the Chief of Army Staff yesterday, and as well as that of the Commander Corps of Engineers. And they both mentioned the fact that the Nigerian Army has carried out past clearance operation. Immediately upon that particular incident, the Nigerian Army carried out deliberate clearance operation. And the bulk of the unexploded ordnances were recovered. And the Corps Commander mentioned even the figure, 103 truckloads of unexploded ordnances within the general vicinity and the environs of the Ikeja Cantonment. Now, these have been cleared. The epicenter of the blast, which we have allowed in order to allow for soak time, so that the sensitive and the deeply buried UXOs can attain non-sensitivity and stability, as well as come up to the surface for ease of identification and clearance. So that is what we are focusing on now. But being that as it is also, the Nigerian Army authorities also directed that other parts of the cantonment, based on information that we suspect UXOs, uncultivated areas, bushy areas and everything, we've also done that. Those ones were done within the preliminary phases of this particular exercise. Thank you.